Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing For the King 2. Sequels have an uphill battle, I've found. No matter the medium, it's hard to live up to expectation. In movies, for every Back to the Future 2, you have a Highlander 2. Empire Strikes Back is a great follow-up to A New Hope, but the actual Star Wars Episode 2 is Attack of the Clones. Books have the same problem, maybe to an even greater extent. You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who thinks Jurassic Park, The Lost World, was necessary. Then again, if we're not following up The Hobbit, there and back again, we wouldn't have Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. Or their sequels, for that matter. And finally, the crux of the argument, video games. The real problem with video game sequels is, do you just do the same thing, but more refined? Like Pokemon has for what seems like forever? Or do you try something new and anger fans of your franchise, like Kojima did way back with Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty? I don't have an answer for this hypothesis, as I like Pokemon Gold/Silver, but I also enjoyed Metal Gear Solid 2. The quote, "Give me scissors, 66, lives rent-free in my head and probably will until I die. I will tell you of a time where a sequel left me feeling whelmed. Just a feeling of opening a brown paper bag with the writing, "Dead Dove, Do Not Eat," on it and saying to myself, I don't know what I expected. As that time is right now, For the King 2. It is a game that doesn't surprise, as it is the same role-playing, roguelike gameplay as the first. As you may recall from my last review, I enjoyed For the King 1. And maybe more importantly, I recommended For the King 1, which is something I tend not to do about anything, ever. So you might be asking yourself, what's the problem? And that's the thing, there really isn't a problem. There are even new ideas here in the sequel that I do enjoy. One of the big changes is this one offers 4-player cooperative gameplay, while the previous was only 3-player. Another addition is tactics, as there are now 2 rows and 4 columns to consider when engaged in combat. Before starting your adventure, you can also pick an additional trait per character, and you pack your own bags with an assortment of items. This makes the start of each playthrough feel unique. Unfortunately, there is an element that was done much better in the first game, and that's the different game modes. In my review for the King 1, I went over 6 different game modes and gave a small overview of each of them. I simply cannot do that here, because until a recent update that I will be going over later, I would have told you there is one game mode in For the King 2. Sure, it's broken up in 5 chapters, and I suppose that you could argue the chapters have different ideas to how they want to be played. I just feel it's an overarching game mode, and the chapters are more a narrative tool. I'd even go further with this and voice the opinion that once you unlock every chapter, there is little to no reason to replay the first 4 chapters, leaving our game For the King 2 with just one chapter, Chapter 5. Now, that was until an update back in June that added the Endless Dungeon mode, the Dark Carnival. This is the mode I played while capturing the review footage. I played this a handful of times, and it's fine. There's a big wheel at the end of each floor that when spun either makes a few floors easier or harder. You make some decisions during the mode, like when to fight a boss, should you go left or right, but overall it doesn't feel too different than Hildebrandt's cellar from For the King 1. My ending thoughts on For the King 2. I really feel like it had an uphill battle for me following the first game. I'd directly compare it to Resident Evil 5 having to follow up one of the best games, Resident Evil 4. It simply could not live up to the previous. Now that's not to say I regret my purchase. I even am glad to recommend it to those who played and enjoyed the first For the King. Okay, everyone, that's it for me. Hope this review was helpful to someone out there. As for the channel, I'm planning on having a review out every Friday with Let's Plays throughout the week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Same bunny time, same bunny channel.